Welcome back to another watercolor painting tutorial, and this one I'm going to be looking at painting light. That's painting light in watercolor. One of the first things I learned in watercolor when I first started out, I was at college at the time. I was watching a program, got hooked into the watercolor medium, and one of the things I started to paint with white gouache, or maybe the Chinese white, which is available in watercolor. And my art tutor, she saw the work and told me that I should leave the white of the paper for the white of the painting. So that's one of the things that has stuck with me, and obviously you can't get any cleaner than the white of the paper. And there are different types of paper that you can get, different colours, different tints. But if you're using a clean white, and then that can be used as your main sort of highlights. So for this one, I want to create a really light centre, almost like a shaft of light coming through, and then just build on that and create some sort of a mountain, sort of mysterious scene. I really wasn't sure when I started this where I was going to go, but I know I wanted to create that light in watercolor. So the paper I'm using today is it's actually rough, 140-pound rough surface, and this is the Fabriano Artistico paper, which is really nice paper. It just gives that really nice effect, especially if you're using a drier brush. So things like water, if you want that sparkle on the water, then just a quick flick of the brush across with a dry-ish sort of brush, and it gives you those highlights in the water. So if you are enjoying this video so far, then please don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Also, leave your comments, and if you're not subscribed, please do subscribe. You can also check out the different videos that I've got for beginners, and also I do have more videos for intermediates as well. So just adding some colour now to the scene, I'm going to start building up the darks. So I've created this, it's almost a backdrop to the painting, and I'm just carrying on with that so far. This is I'm using my Schmincke Horadam paints, and I'm also using my #1 hair brush. I just had to think then, I couldn't remember which palette I used, but that's what I used, my Schmincke Horadam set, which I really do like those paints. I did actually squeeze out some more Payne's grain, that was M grams, onto my butcher's tray. So with the use of the Hake brush, it's easier to work from a palette, from a butcher's tray, so you got that room to mix those colours. So using plenty of water with this painting so far, and I'm taking my time just building up those colours, just adding little bits here and there, and I'm not really still quite sure where the sky is going to be, where the mountains are, or anything like that. I'm just creating this dark sort of frame to the light in the center. So as I paint, I'm just going to let things develop, and as I see what I need to add, then I'll start to, like scraping these rocks. I just want a few rocks, some highlights of rocks, so that light coming down, it's hitting some of those rocks, and just wanted to depict some of those. So as I do this, it just gives a little bit more structure to the scene, and then I can figure out where I'm going to go and what I'm going to add. So I'm presuming probably going to add a few trees here and there, and just build upon some of the shapes that I've got so far. So if you've not used the scraping technique to scrape out highlights of rocks, then it really is a good technique to learn. It really isn't that difficult. It may look quite easy, and it really is. You just got to practice. I think it just depends on how wet the paint is. That's the only key to this technique. If your paint dries too much, then you're not going to scrape out much. And if it's too wet, then the pigment's just going to puddle up and fill back in the space that you've scraped out. So you've got to hit the right time and sort of in the middle. So not too wet and not too dry. And then you can get these really nice effects scraping rocks. You can also use the technique to scrape out buildings, roofs of buildings, anything like that. But with these being rocks, it's nice to go in and add a darker tone underneath, so that gives you the shadow side. So you got the light hitting the top, so that's where I've scraped, and then the shadows underneath, and it just really helps those to pop, and it's a really nice effect for the foreground of your painting. Another really important thing to remember when you're painting in watercolor, you're relying upon the paper for the lightest areas. So in order to make those really light, it's nice to have really darks next to it. So if that makes sense, the darker you paint around those highlighted areas, the lighter the light sort of seems. So you can really push it, you can really have fun using these painting light or leaving those light areas. You just got to go dark with the surrounding areas. So just adding a few trees now, you can see I've switched to the liner brush. I've got a number 2 liner brush or rigger just to pop in some of those branches. And first off, to get in the foliage, I just use my 1-inch shake brush, just dabbing it on the paper. So quite dry, quite a lot of paint on there, just dabbing my butcher's tray and then just dabbing it on the paper, and that gives me the foliage. And then just suggest some of the bigger branches and trunks with a larger sort of round brush. You can see just how I create that foliage with the hake brush. And I don't want too much, not on this side. I'm just going to link those with a few twigs and sticks and all those things, so it looks like there's trees sort of hanging over into the scene. I wanted to do that. And then just with the liner brush again, just pulling up on some branches just to fill in some of that space in the sort of middle foreground. You can use your card to scrape out highlights on trees on one side, so just to suggest that light. But that's pretty much it. In order to create the light, you've got to create some darks. So that's one of the things. If you really push those darks, it really does help those lights to stand out. I hope that makes sense. I hope you know what I mean. But it really does. You can't have really light without having some really nice dark, some nice contrast to go with it. So just removing the masking tape from this painting, and I really like these paintings, you know, when it's not very clear what's what, and you really got to work out what's what's in the scene. It's open to interpretation, and some people may see mountains, and you got to work that out, and it's nice when your eyes got to do that. But I really like this one. Let me know what you think. There's plenty of light. Hope I captured that well. But I just wanted to share that with you. Just a quick one on how to paint light in watercolor, and it really comes down from having some nice strong contrast.